We are all set, Captain. You are ready to go.
Today, Arsenal have been reportedly in talks with Everton to inquire about the availability of midfielder Amadou Onana. Could play as an 8, could play as a 6. Very, very young, 22 years of age, Belgium. We will see him at the Euros, and we will definitely get a bigger picture when he's playing around quality. Trossard, a couple of other good players there in that Belgian side, the likes of Openda. Now, when it comes to Amadou Onana, I get confused, right? But we have a clarification that Arsenal are looking at someone versatile to allow Mikel Arteta tactical flexibility. Someone who could play as a 6 and someone could play as an 8 as well. Do you see Amadou Onana, 22 years of age, as a player who can develop into your next all-round midfielder at Arsenal?
He could. You never know. His development could be there. But in terms of like right now, come and start for us, I'm not sure, man. Especially if you tell me right now that, okay, we are selling Partey and Onana is the guy we are bringing in. I'd be like, why? The way Xhaka left and then Havertz came in and people are like, I gave Havertz a chance, but the people are like, nah, you can't sell Xhaka and bring in Havertz. This does not work. Rice came in and you feel like, okay, now you're bringing something here. Now for Onana, he has these qualities, but in terms of coming to directly replace Partey, no. If he was coming in and Partey was staying and Partey was playing 5 games and then you rest him and then you play Onana twice and then Partey is back, and Onana to mix it up here and there, Onana comes off the bench, I'd be like, yeah, bring him. That's another physical body in the midfield. That's another Premier League experienced player, another player who plays for internationally for Belgium. You can come in and play for us in that position, but not depend on you from match day 1 to match day 38 like we did for Saliba, match day 1 to match day 38. I wouldn't really be confident in terms of that. Now, will he bring qualities to us? Yeah, his ball carrying abilities are incredible. Like if you have both Rice and Onana in the same team, the opposition team will be scared. Like both of them can pick up the ball and just run with it and drift with it like past 5-6 players and get us to the other position box, which is a great quality to have when you don't really have to pass long passes and all that. If you just have someone who can run with the ball, you get to the other side quicker. Absolutely perfect. He will bring that. He'll bring that Premier League experience. You probably see him making a tackle, one tackle, and you're like, wow, this guy. Or your body checks are playing. You'll be like, yeah, this is what we need. Or he can even make one pass, and you're like, yes. But consistency is the problem. For me, midfield, that position is the most important position on the pitch. If you don't have a good player there, you're going to suffer. We played Lokonga there for around 6 months and there's nothing that we could have done. Partey was not there. Xhaka was suspended for a couple of games. We didn't really like Xhaka as a number 6 anyway. And I think we put too much pressure on Lokonga. Not his fault, not Arteta's fault. We didn't really have anyone else to play there. But I actually felt sorry for Lokonga. You have to have a lot of ability to play in that position. You have to be.
It's too demanding, really demanding.
You have to show your defenders and your goalkeeper that, listen, give me the ball. Don't be scared. Give me the ball. But when you have someone like a Lokonga there,
trust you as well. Like they,
trust you.
Not physical, but they trust him with the ball more than they would trust, a player like Lokonga who is a little bit physical and taller and yeah.
If I was playing in that Arsenal team and I'm a defender, I'm a little bit scared to have the ball and Jorginho is in front of me, I'll be like, oh, thank goodness. I'll give Jorginho the ball because I know, he'll do something for me. But if it was someone like a Lokonga in that position 2-3 years ago, I'm like, oh, I'm not sure because you don't want to give the player the ball and then it's calamity and then it's not calm and composed and then the attack is closer to you and then you're in big trouble. So Onana will probably do 1-2 games where you're like, he's looking good, but do I trust him when he's being pressed by De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva in that midfield? Just take charge, remain calm, make the right decision, know when to pass the ball, know when to return the ball to the goalkeeper, know when to keep the ball for a couple of seconds, know when your team is under pressure and, you've been given the ball to take a bit of away pressure from the rest of the team, know when you've been given the ball to progress it more quicker when you're trying to counter-attack, turn, hit the pass the left side to the right side. I don't think he'd be able to do that in terms of depending on him. Partey can do that a lot of times. He can give him the ball. Sometimes Partey gets the ball and I expect him to return the ball to the goalkeeper or, try and pass the ball to Ben White. And then he just turns and then he's off. I'm like, wow, how did you see that space? And he's off.
That is the reason why this season we've not seen Declan Rice in that number 6 a lot of the time. Most people think that because Mikel Arteta has found him as a better 8. Yes, he's found him as a better 8. But remember there's a time when he played there. But because Partey and Jorginho, all of them, when they get that ball, their first thought is, how do I, turn and face the opposition goal, as compared to Declan Rice, who plays it a little bit back. That is the one thing that Partey and Jorginho have, and that's one thing that I don't think Amadou Onana would bring in at Arsenal right now.
You have to have some outstanding qualities for me to trust you there. If you're not the best in terms of defending, you'll really have to be giving me, quick progressive passes, long passes that are leading to goals, and composure on the ball. But maybe if you're not the best in terms of defending, but you can control the ball and help us manage the game when you're 1-0 up and all that, then I can be able to trust you. Or if you're not the best in terms of attacking, because someone like N'Golo Kanté was not good, like in terms of going forward and scoring goals and assisting consistently. But you knew, like, when the ball comes there, he's going to get it. So even if you're missing something attacking,
N'Golo Kanté must have got army training somewhere.
So, I watched him for France yesterday. He looks still very, very good. So even if you're like an attacking team and you just want every single player to be an attacker, and you have someone like Kante, we're like, you know what, we can sacrifice that position because he's doing so much for us in midfield. He's intercepting the ball, he's making the tackles, he's giving our forward players the chance to create chance after chance after chance. Yes, I don't think Onana stands out in any of that. Now he's perfectly fits to what you said a few weeks ago. He has a little bit of everything, but in not one position that is completely stand out. Like, yes, maybe a little bit of ball carrying. Yes, you can maybe a few tackles in there, a few interceptions, a bit of composure, a bit of calmness, maybe consistency, maybe not too injured. But in terms of like standout things like Declan Rice, set piece ability is incredible. You can say the ball carrying ability is incredible. The interception from Declan Rice is just second to none. Absolutely fantastic. You can say Partey, composure in midfield, the passing, Jorginho the same. You can go to even which other team? You can say a Rodri, outstanding in a lot of abilities. Busquets back in the day, Vieira, Roy Keane. You could say like all of these players. I don't think Onana completely stands out. Would I still take him at Arsenal? Yes, but not as a starter. If it was coming to back up Partey, or him coming Partey and then someone else comes in there so they can rotate. Really, if Onana plays and then we feel like we're missing something, you throw in the other player, absolutely fine. But in terms of depending on him from match day 1 to 38, no. And then another key factor for me, the last 4 or 5 years, the level he's been competing at is, you just need 1-0 or something at the bottom, or that you just need to stay up. We are happy, we are contented with 1 win out of 5 as long as picked up a win. Yes, people sign players from Sheffield and all that. We signed Ramsdale for Sheffield. Yes, that can happen, but the levels he's been playing at is so worried. That's why I always say, if you're signing a player from Ajax, I'm like, yeah. If you're signing a player from Brighton, Man City, I'm like, yeah, these players are going to fit in well, ability-wise, and Man City have been playing at a high level. Yeah, but Onana, you wouldn't really be sure what you're expecting in terms of that.
Yeah, definitely. Now, for me, with Amadou Onana.
Oh, please, not Andre Onana, please. We want to compete for the league.
Definitely not Andre Onana. With Amadou Onana, like Glenn has said, I kind of feel like, if you want to bring him in as entirely a squad player. Like, you bring him in to replace El Neni, but a more active El Neni, and El Neni that will play more games as compared to what El Neni has come in. But do not bring him to replace any of your core pieces, at the moment. I wouldn't really do that. Actually, I wanted to ask you, in terms of profile, right? Arsenal looking for someone who's all round, a little bit all round, defensively, attacking. What do you think Mikel looks at, this guy Onana and impresses him? Physicality, ability to drive, or he just looks at Mikel thinks he's an engineer, so he looks at him as like, I can make him what I want. Do you think it's the fact that he's young and probably coachable? That's one of the reasons why Mikel is really, really big on him, because we want him in January.
I think he's looking at the physicality first. Now, the midfield, if you have physicality and you can bully teams, perfect. Because I just said, from what I heard from the assistant and what I just written in the dressing room and all that, he wants Arsenal to suffocate teams.
Yeah. And
last season, when I was watching Arsenal, especially from January to May, I was sad. I was not happy. I was like, my goodness, look at what you're doing to Newcastle. Newcastle could not get the ball. I was like, this is not, I'm an Arsenal fan, but this is not good. We have to give other teams an opportunity.
Yeah.
Like, we strangled completely Sheffield, whatever you want to say about those teams and whatever. Burnley completely strangled them. Like, even Man City, 2 games, we keep them down to like 1 shot on target, and Man City even scared to try and attack us because what we can do to them. Even Liverpool, we had to score an own goal for Liverpool to get back into that game. It would have been 3-0. Like, we were suffocating teams completely. Teams could not get a chance. It's crazy. Like, when you're playing against us, when you have 1 shot on target, like 10 games in a row. It's crazy. It means like it's not just the defenders who are good with the goalkeeper, it's the overall team. So you want people to suffocate the other team. And that comes in a lot of ways. Energy, power, ball possession, control. I think it feels like the control is there with the players like Jorginho and Odegaard. We can keep the ball however you want. Part is not always available, but you can add a bit of more physicality in that midfield. Maybe even if Partey is there the last 30 minutes, if the team is kind of, outboarding you and all that, if you're playing against a team that has both Soucek and Bruno Guimaraes, you can throw in Onana and tell them, okay, in terms of ability, in terms of passing and on the ground football, you're better than you, but you're slightly better than us in terms of physicality. We're going to throw in Onana. And I think the team that is built, he has players like that. But if you see the signings he's been making, Gabriel, players like Havertz, those are big players. I think he also loves a bit of physicality. Yes,
well.
Declan Rice as well. You're right whenever you say he likes a player like a Jorginho has been made in terms of controlling midfield. But I think he also loves a bit of, bullies and set pieces and big boys, because people call him Tony Pulis and all that, because I think he loves a bit of, just bullying teams. So I think he feels like,
one thing we cannot argue against is that he's slowly but surely making this Arsenal team bigger.
Better than we've ever been. We've never really had a team like this. Like, even 10 years ago, Wilshere, Ramsey, players like small players.
I think with Arsene Wenger, it was different. I think Arsene Wenger preferred players to because he played a system where you would rather fit into smaller spaces than dominate and strangle team.
It's a weird one because Arsene Wenger had a team of big boys for 9 years. Pala, Vieira, Gilberto Silva.
Yeah.
I don't know why it changed.
I don't know what his I don't know what inspired the change, but definitely it didn't work out.
They said it was Fabregas. Fabregas came in and then he started playing like football, and then until Wenger was like, I can actually get more players like this and maybe change the way, because we can never get the team that we had in terms of the Invincible. So maybe it fits into the physicality that he had started trying to build in terms of Onana. You can completely now strangle teams completely now. Now, not 18 clean sheets, go for 26. How many goals do you concede? Less than 30, go for less than 20 this season. Keep possession like 85% and all that physicality. But in terms of the technique and all that, maybe I don't think it's going to bring that, but maybe feels already have enough of that. So I'd say the main thing is physicality. Can he make him better? Does he think he's going to make him better? I think he feels that way about his every single player. So I don't like saying Arteta has an ego, anything like that. Most Arsenal fans say, but I think he also really believes in himself. That's what I like about him.
He does believe in himself, but also he's got that bit of an ego. And of course, every successful person has got to have an ego. If you don't have an ego, you have nothing as a competitor.
I think if you ask him to bring back Emmanuel Frimpong and make him better, he'll be like, I can make him better. I'll make him better. Yeah. So it's an interesting one. So Onana is still young. He has a lot of time to develop. Maybe 180 pages. Maybe they feel like in terms of culture and all that, he fits in perfectly in terms of personality and all that. You don't know him as a person. He's probably a good person. I don't know. So I feel like physicality is the main thing. Not just bring something that we don't have. I think add to what we already have in terms of physicality.
I mean, guys, talk to me in the comment box below. What exactly are we looking at when it comes to Amadou Onana? Is it technical ability, physicality, Premier League proven? He's young. I mean, there's so many pluses, but in terms of being convinced, I'm not 100%. I mean,
something I can add. Sorry, in terms of pace, there's a couple of times where Pat has been passed and then he doesn't have the pace to cover. I think he feels like Onana would have those big legs to cover for the last 30 minutes. Maybe.
Yeah, his pace is there, and of course he's got the legs as well. So in that position in midfield, Arsenal have also been linked to Frankie de Jong. The Athletic are saying that Arsenal know that this is not an easy deal to do, and they don't actually see it as one that they would actually complete right away. But it's a player Mikel Arteta is interested in. We like him, and we've scouted him for quite some time. Just like we've scouted Gimaresh, the likes of João Neves, João Palhinha, and a couple of others. So De Jong is an interesting profile, Glenn. He's not as physical, but in terms of technical ability, like you'd have to shield him 100%. You'd have to commit Declan Rice to the number 6, because with De Jong in the number 6, that is a story I've been sold, and I have not bought that. I have really, I'm not spending my money on a number 6 like De Jong. I prefer him in the 8, controls games, creates a lot of chances from deeper areas, and he's a lover of a through ball, right? Like he's Dutch, we know. Total football, that's their thing. Would you take De Jong over Onana, number 1? And secondly, would you take De Jong in the Premier League, given his physicality and his lack of physicality, and also his price tag would be a little bit like above 70 million?
In football, they call him a register, as someone who can, play those passes from midfield, and just like, I think Busquets was considered like, Xavi. Let's use Xavi as an example, or Xabi Alonso as well. Xabi Alonso as well. Even Gerrard, when he played there, overall. Now, if you get Gerrard in today's game, you just destroy teams, that ability, man. So people see him as a register, someone who can play those deep lying positions. But I agree with you. I feel like he's more of a number 8, because in the number 6, unless you're going to have 95% of the possession and you know that other team is not going to get any chances at all, then you can play that. Because if you have, I'm imagining if you have a double pivot of De Jong and Jorginho, that other team is never going to get that ball. Yeah, they're never. But when they get it and they have Onana or someone like Bruno Guimaraes, they're going to run past you. They're going to bully you to death. So, what does he see in him in terms of? Yeah, also in terms of number 6, I don't really get sold to that. I agree with you. In Spain and England, it's very different. Spain, you can have those games against Osasuna and Real Valladolid and maybe a Rayo Vallecano, and they're going to have a lot of possession. They're going to dominate the game. And if you have other players working for you as well, all you need to do is just to pass the ball, fine. But in the Premier League, those teams do not let you. Like if you have De Jong up against Idrissi Gana Gueye, is going to try and just break his leg right away. So if you already have someone who's going to care about your midfield and protect the defense, and you have De Jong. Now I think De Jong would fit better for us in terms of the number 8, as you said, or maybe a pivot. If you were playing like the formation, you had to play like Flamini and Fabregas, or Cazorla and Coquelin. If you have Pat and De Jong there, or Rice and De Jong there, then that would be absolutely incredible. That would be insane. I think De Jong also used to play as a centre back when he was at Ajax with the Leeds. Yeah. He played as centre back sometimes. So basically, you have a ball creator at centre back, but you also have to have 3 defenders who are really good, because De Jong, maybe in terms of the cross comes in, he's not going to like go and compete with Haaland. That would be a problem. So I think he's looking at those things in terms of technical wise and all that. He's very, very good. Would I take him ahead of Onana? Yeah, I would. I'll take him ahead of Onana. Now Onana is younger, but De Jong, I think, has now done it. Like for Netherlands, for Ajax, for Barcelona, he's been linked to a lot of teams for a lot of years. Man United, Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool. There's a reason. My only worry would be the Premier League physicality. You'd really have to protect him. I don't think I use Jorginho as an example, but I don't think you can have Jorginho and De Jong in your midfield together. I'd not be safe with that.
I mean, what we saw with Spain under Busquets was total domination. You don't lose the ball. Like you don't even lose it to your own teammate without sending to. That was what we saw against Spain, and it's one of the most boring teams that we've ever seen or will ever see. But they could keep the ball. So I think
that makes sense.
With De Jong and Jorginho and a player like Odegaard, you have a trio that can keep the ball for 90 minutes. Maybe not 9 minutes, obviously, but for 70 minutes out of 90 minutes. And that's what Mikel Arteta wants. He wants us to have the ball. Whenever he changes his eyes, he wants to see an Arsenal player on the ball. He doesn't want to see other players trying to win the ball. He doesn't want to see other players having a chance to win it. That is what De Jong would give us. The other thing that he would give us is something you've talked about when we're talking about world class. I think he's a player that has experience, pedigree, and he's a player that has won. So if you bring him into that midfield, I think clubs would be out there saying, or how do we deal with Rice? How do we deal with De Jong? And how do we deal with Odegaard? Because all three of them are technically gifted, experienced players who played at the top level, and they've played since the age of 16. So they've got that pedigree, they've got that presence in midfield. The one thing I wanted to ask you with De Jong is, if he came in at Arsenal right now, obviously you still have Partey, you still have Jorginho, you still have Declan Rice, and I think Rice has really done well in the 8. Would you quickly swap out Rice in the 8 and just slot him in?
Oh, that's a tough one because I feel like both can play both of those positions. It depends on what Tata wants to do in that particular game. But
I mean, Partey is still starting as long as he's still at Arsenal.
Because De Jong's thing is, as you say, the control, the vision, the passing, and those kind of things. I think he's better than Rice in terms of that. Rice, if you ask Rice does feel like he's a very good ball player. Like if you ask him, he'd tell you, like if you put me up against Iniesta, I would fancy myself. I feel like I have those qualities, but I've never really had a chance to use it because I play as a number 6 for England. I used to play as a number 6 for West Ham. And for Arsenal, we played them. He didn't play for us as a number 8 through the season. If he played for us throughout the season, he probably could have had 10 goals, 10 assists. If he was taking our he's only started taking our set pieces in February. If he was taking them from the beginning of the season plus playing that position, he could easily have had 12 goals and 10 assists. Yeah, so he is a player who can do that. But in terms of interceptions and tackles and things like that, I trust Declan Rice more to do that in front of the midfield. And he's done it for a lot of years. Yes, we'll be taking something away from the number 8 position, but if you're bringing De Jong to add that, then that's fine. So the only question I'd ask you to answer that question better is what is his goal return and stuff like that, De Jong?
Now, in terms of scoring goals, Frankie De Jong would score for you 2 goals in 7 seasons.
So now that would only work if you're playing a 4-2-3-1. If you have Rice and De Jong in midfield and then De Jong stays, Rice goes forward. Sometimes De Jong stays, Rice stays, De Jong goes forward. That could be it. But in terms of playing as a number 8, because our number 8, I think the last 2-3 seasons, our number 8 has been scoring goals from Havertz to Xhaka to Declan Rice. That's the position where you need to do a lot. Number 8, you basically have to defend and attack. Number 6, maybe we don't really need you to attack, just defend. Number 10, yes, in our team you have to defend, but some other teams you'll be like, the number 10 just creates the chances and score the goals. You don't really have to come back and play. You just play the free role, the number 10. But number 8 is a balance of the two. You have to, be able to create a bit and then defend a bit. You have to do all that. That's why Rice fits there perfectly. He can defend, he can also attack. So if you're telling me De Jong is only going to score 2 goals, then we are talking about in a game where you just have to want to keep possession and don't lose the ball and, stuff like that and take control of the ball. I don't want to say De Jong is a bench player, but it would work better for us if he's coming on for the last 30 minutes to just take control of the game. But if you're looking for someone to create chances and score goals, if you're telling me 2 goals every 7 seasons, I'm not sure. So then how it would work there is De Jong as a number 6 and Rice as a number 8, and then you ask Rice to come and do a bit of defending as well.
Yeah. Definitely. Now, it's a deal that's very, very difficult for Arsenal to do, like we've said. So talk to me in the comment box below. Again, Frankie De Jong, Amadou Onana. Frankie De Jong, highly technically gifted, but of course, in terms of that, goal return that we have seen in that position for the last 2 years, Xhaka scoring a couple of good goals before leaving, then Declan Rice coming in and obliterating his Xhaka's former record. That was actually kind of nice, and also obliterating his own record in terms of GA. That was also kind of unexpected. Another player that Mikel Arteta has sat down, raised his hand, and said, he is good. I can guarantee you that I can change him. I can guarantee you that I'm going to change his game, is Fabio Vieira. Fabio Vieira is one player that we all anticipated to play in that left 8 position. It hasn't worked out very well yet, but when he played there against Crystal Palace, he caused a penalty. When he played there against Fulham, yes, it ended 2-2, but he almost won us that game. Fabio Vieira, how does he compare to the players that we are, that we are linked with in that position? And probably would you say keep him, don't sign anyone there, let's see how he does?
Not as a number 8. As I said, for me, a number 8, I'm looking for a player who can score and assist and also defend. I'm not sure how much defending Fabio is going to do for you.
He's off.
I remember when you signed him, there's a lot of people saying, "Oh my goodness, this guy looks so weak. We need to get him in the gym fast before he comes to us." But Vieira is a player I've given a chance. Before the start of last season, I was like, "Listen, I don't give one season is not enough. I know he might have taken time to adapt to the Premier League. Let's give him a second season. Let's see how he does." And I predicted him to be our surprise of the season within the first 6 games. I was like, I could be right here. Another game you forgot to mention is Man United came off the bench, played in that number 8 position, got an assist for Jesus, got an assist for Nketiah. That Fulham game, he changed it. I think that particular game against Fulham, Nketiah and Vieira came on and changed it for us. That he put us 2-1 up in that particular game. Again, we were struggling. And then against Everton, after the international break, away from home, he started, and people were actually saying, "Listen, we don't want Havertz anymore in that position. Play Fabio Vieira next to Odegaard." Funnily enough, for me, I've never really seen him as a player in that position. For me, I see him as a backup for Odegaard. For me, like when Odegaard is now, I know Odegaard does a lot, as we've talked about, in terms of the pressing and all that. It would take a lot. Still need to work on his pressing and all that.
Like in terms of physicality, I can understand. But in terms of the work ethic Martin Odegaard has, he doesn't stand a chance.
He doesn't stand a chance.
He would only stand a chance if Arsenal winning 2 goals, 3 goals to nil, and then you bring him in, right, in a game where you've already, kind of neutralized the opponent.
What about
insane? His work ethic is insane. His work rate is insane. His pressing is insane.
So he definitely, in a game like against Liverpool or Man City, you're not going to play Fabio Vieira. But what about if some teams will pack the bus against you, so you'll need Odegaard? But what if you're up against Ipswich at home? They have 10 outfield players behind the ball. Would you tell Fabio Vieira, go and play that Odegaard role? You're going to rest Odegaard today. You're not going to have to do a lot of pressing. There's a team that's just going to clear the ball and all that. You're going to have Havertz and those guys doing the pressing for you. Would you trust Fabio Vieira to open up that game for you?
Yeah, I would. Definitely, I would. Especially if I've given him 2 big presences in Partey and Declan Rice to support him side by side.
And then Havertz up front, yeah.
Yeah, I know he can find that, brilliant pass. And he has a shot in him that you wouldn't really expect is a powerful one. If you can make them more accurate. I mean, we've seen one against Brentford and one against FC Barcelona in pre-season. So he's got that shot in him that I really like.
I think it's going to be used more, not as a number 8, though. More as maybe you're going to even see him more on the Saka side, because he's also played there. And
he's played there, yeah.
His performance has not been bad, but for me, what Saka gives you, you need that. Like, that's just destroying the fullback. I don't think Fabio Vieira will destroy the fullback. He will, cut back in and then keep the position and then give it to Odegaard and then put in a very deadly cross and all that and shoot the ball from outside the box. But in terms of running past the fullback time and time again and making the fullback tired or coming in for Saka when the fullback is tired, I think the fullback will be relieved to see Saka, going off and Vieira coming on in terms of pace and all that. But if Saka is going off and then I bring in Leao or Nico Williams, the fullback will be very wide. So Vieira, I expected him to be a surprise of the season, but he got injured. He got a red card. He missed a few games throughout the season. We never really used him at the end of the season, even when he was fit. So that is the only concern. But if Arteta wants him to stay, it's very intriguing to see where he's going to play, honestly. It's very intriguing to see where he's going to play and what he's going to do next season, because for 42 million pounds, that's a lot of money. I would like to ask after watching him, what did you see? But again, the season he had played for FC Porto, it was really good. Goals, assists, but when you come to England, it's totally different. Like, you ask Ten Hag as a manager and you come to England, totally different. And there's a lot of players you can ask coming from different countries and struggling in England and going back. Sancho, good example. You never know. Even Pepe could be a good example. He might go back and score 100 goals in France, but in England, the game is just different. You'll need to do a lot of things. You cannot carry a player in the Premier League. You cannot have 10 players. Even Mbappe, Messi, Neymar team might struggle in the Premier League if not defending.
Of course. So Fabio Vieira is one that is intriguing to watch where that one ends, but Mikel Arteta would love to keep. Another player that is intriguing to see where he's going to play is the elevation of Ethan Nwaneri from wherever he's been to now playing at Arsenal and being part of that squad. Obviously, being part of the squad doesn't mean he cannot play with the under 23s. I think he can, help out there. But the sale of Emil Smith Rowe might actually have Ethan Nwaneri as a replacement of ESR. The Athletic are saying that he's definitely going to be part of that squad. He's definitely going to be promoted to the first team squad next season. Mikel Arteta appreciates him and likes him. We fought very hard to give him a contract, and the player actually wants to see himself in a situation where you gave me a new deal, you convinced me to stay. Now prove to me that I am worth. Ethan Onana, talent-wise, absolutely insane. But is first and foremost, is he the first one we're going to see Mikel Arteta really groom by himself as a youngster?
That's a really tough one. People usually say Arteta doesn't love the youngsters and stuff. It's a real tough. We gave him his debut at 15 or something against Brentford in that match.
And Simon Jordan was absolutely raging.
I remember. I was trolling Brentford on that day because Tony had tweeted about having a kick about the boys. I remember when he beat them on that day, and I was like, the game was so easy. We threw in our 15-year-old to also have a kick about with the other boys. So in terms of... will Arteta give him, will Arteta nurture him as the first one that Arteta has? Could be. I mean, he's not the one who gave the debuts to likes of Saka and those players, but they've grown under Arteta. Saka, Martinelli, even Smith Rowe, they've grown under Arteta. He's nurtured them, and Saka's taking it to the next level. Martinelli is taking it to the next level. None, I think, is a good opportunity because you're not really seeing others. We thought it was going to be players like Walters. We thought it was going to be players like Balogun. We thought it was maybe going to be like a Biereth or players like that, but never really. Yeah, but it never really worked out to be those players. Even there's another one. I think it's there's another midfield. There was a long. There's Patino, and then there's another one. I might remember him as we talk about him. But yeah, I think Onana is a perfect chance, and he gave him that debut. And even he doesn't really bring on youngsters, but I think when we were leading against West Ham, Onana came on, so that shows him maybe he wants to develop him for next season. And obviously, he's seen players like Bob and Lewis getting chances in Man City. It's like, okay, maybe I have mine here. I can use in this number 10 role and stuff. Now, Onana can play very well in the number 10 role. He can also play on the wings. Now, he's still very young, 17. He still has a lot of time to develop strength-wise and in terms of, composure and all that. But I would like to see him next season, come in 4 Premier League games, start a Carabao Cup game, come on in an FA Cup game, maybe get 10 minutes in a Champions League game. That would be great for his development. He's been in and around the camp. He's been training with the team. He's the one who's been traveling with the team alongside Dewberry and Walters. They've been traveling with the team, so he's been in and around there. So I think Arteta really feels like he has the technique, and Arteta loves technical players. So yeah. I feel like Onana is a dream for him, and he feels like this could be my player at 17. I could develop him to be, the next me. Who knows? He can be the next. So I think he's going to be the player that Arteta is going to give the chance next. Yes.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I think the talent is there. Would it be a kind of a downgrade from ESR to Ethan Onana around the squad? I kind of feel like so. But I think Arsenal also think that ESR is becoming surplus to requirements, and moving on would be a very, very good option. Now, the Cossy Arsenal podcast comes your way. Cossy Arsenal podcast. The Cossy and Glenn podcast comes your way on every single daily basis on the Cossy Arsenal podcast at exactly 8 p.m. premiering. Make sure you always catching it live. I mean, it's better to watch it as a premiere rather than a re-upload. So let's get those premieres and premiere numbers going up. And also, Glenn uploads it on his channel on every single daily basis. You can watch it at midday and during the day. As you do your work, you can listen to us. You can give us your thoughts on both channels. Glenn, we call it a night as we still wait for the Benjamin Sesko decision. You reckon in 48 hours we will see something?
I think in the next 48 hours, the Thursday and the Friday, we're definitely going to see a breakthrough. Hopefully, it is for us. If they really, really want him, hopefully it is him that we get.
All right.
Lastly, it was Taylor Hart. The guy is called Kido Taylor Hart. Used to play in the under-23, and then there was another one who was sent to loan in Spain. That's the other guy that I've forgotten.
Yeah. So, guys, the Cossy and Glenn podcast comes to an end today. We will be back tomorrow. Have a good night.